welcome back to another episode of Horror Theory. Deep in the heart of a small town in India, there was an old bungalow that stood abandoned for years. The locals believed that the house was cursed and that anyone who entered would never return. But one group of friends, skeptical of the rumors, decided to spend the night there on a dare. As they entered the house, they felt an eerie presence, and the atmosphere was suffocating. The creaking of the wooden floorboards echoed through the house, and the flickering candlelight cast ominous shadows on the walls. As the night wore on, strange things began to happen. Doors slammed shut on their own, and windows rattled violently. The group heard ghostly whispers and footsteps from empty rooms, and objects moved by themselves. Suddenly, one of the friends disappeared without a trace. The other frantically searched for the missing friends but was nowhere to be found. The remaining friends decided to leave the house and find help. However, as they tried to open the front door, it wouldn't budge. They were trapped inside the haunted bungalow with no way out. The temperature in the room dropped drastically, and the ghostly figure materialized before them. The ghostly figure was that of an old woman who had once lived in the bungalow. She had been murdered in her sleep, and her spirit had been trapped inside the house ever since. The friends realized that they were not alone, and the ghostly figure was not pleased with their presence. The ghostly figure began to attack them, and the friends knew they had to escape. They ran through the house, dodging furniture that flew at them and trying to find a way out. They finally found a secret passage that led them to the basement. But as they descended the stairs, they realized that they were not alone. The old woman's ghostly presence followed them, and they could feel her cold breath on the back of their necks. They knew they had to act fast if they wanted to survive. They reached the basement, and to their horror, they found the body of their missing friend. The old woman's ghostly figure appeared before them, and the friends knew that they were in grave danger. They tried to fend off the ghost, but their attempts were futile. As the night turned into dawn, the old woman's spirit finally vanished, and the friends managed to escape from the bungalow. But they knew that they would never forget the horrors they had experienced that night, and the haunted bungalow would remain a place of fear and terror forever. The friends stumbled out of the bungalow, gasping for air and trembling with fear. They looked at each other, their eyes filled with terror, and they knew that they had just narrowly escaped death. They stumbled their way back to their homes, but they knew that they would never be the same again. For weeks, they were haunted by nightmares of the old woman's ghostly figure, and they would still hear her cold breath on the back of their necks. They tried to forget about the haunted bungalow, but they knew that they could never shake off the horrors they had experienced that night. One day, they decided to go back to the bungalow to investigate what had happened. They knew that it was a risky move, but they needed closure. They went back to the bungalow armed with holy water, candles, and other paranormal investigation tools. As they approached the old house, they could feel the hairs on their necks stand up and the air around them grew cold. They entered the bungalow and they immediately felt the same eerie presence that they had greeted them before. They began to explore the house, searching for any clue that would explain the haunting. As they searched, they discovered a hidden room that they had missed before. Inside the room, they found an old diary that belonged to the old woman who had been murdered. They read through the diary and discovered that the old woman had been murdered by her own son, who was angry that she had given her inheritance to her daughter instead of him. The son had poisoned her while she was sleeping, and he had hidden her body in the basement. The friends were shocked and horrified by the revelation. They knew that they had to do something to bring the old woman's spirit peace. They decided to hold a spiritual ceremony in the bungalow to help the old woman's spirit cross over to the other side. They gathered all the necessary tools and began the ceremony. As they chanted, the air around them grew warmer and the candles flickered brighter. Suddenly, they saw the old woman's ghostly figure materialize before them. She looked at them, and for the moment they thought she was angry. But then the old woman's spirit began to speak. She thanked them for finding her diary and bringing her son to justice. She said that she had been trapped in the bungalow for so long because she had not been able to let go of the injustice that she had been done to her. But now that her son had been punished, she was finally able to rest in peace. With those words, the old woman's ghostly figure vanished into the thin air. The friends felt a sense of relief wash over them, and they knew that they had finally brought peace to the haunted bungalow. As they left the bungalow, they looked back one last time. They knew that the bungalow would always be a place of fear and terror, but they also knew that they had made a difference. They had helped a trapped soul find peace, and they had conquered their own fear in the process. They knew that they would never forget the haunted bungalow, but they were ready to move on from the horror that had once consumed them. Subscribe for daily horror stories.